Big Mal was a playboy who married a bunny girl, an extrovert and a hellraiser who entranced Moore, opening his eyes to his youthful promise and, eventually, to new social horizons. Greenwood would prove no less influential, but he came about it in the rather more studied way you might expect from a man known to his players as Reverend Ron. Greenwood brought idealism to his work, a belief that he was on a mission to show that the game was not about victory by any means, but the pursuit of excellence. It was about artistry. "Football is a battle of wits or nothing at all," Greenwood said. He abhorred the win-at-all-costs culture he felt was taking a pernicious hold in professional football. Preaching those principles would inspire that reverend tag. While Allison came to spend his managerial life at war with football's authorities for his many intemperate attacks, Greenwood was exactly the sort of upstanding chap welcomed into FA circles. While coaching the Oxford University team, Greenwood impressed Harold Thompson, a chemistry don who was on his way to becoming the notoriously autocratic chairman of the FA. Thompson brought Greenwood into the England fold and put him in charge of England youth. It was while scouting for new talent that Greenwood would first come across Moore as a sturdy 16-year-old, an early sighting that may say more about his discerning eye than Moore's outstanding abilities. Greenwood was at Stamford Bridge looking for recruits for his junior international team, and he liked the blonde teenager playing centre-half for London grammar schools against their Glasgow counterparts. Greenwood called up Moore and handed him a record 17 appearances for England youth in 1957-1958. He championed Moore around the FA. At West Ham, they were still not sure about Moore's quality, or even his best position, moving him around defence and midfield. Greenwood saw a ball-playing centre-half and a boy with a temperament to go a long way. To Greenwood, at least in those early days, Moore seemed a manager's dream, enthusiastic to the point of being a teacher's pet. "I rarely had a conversation with young Moore," Greenwood said. "He simply asked questions. He wanted to know everything. How to defend against this player, where to pass, when to bring the ball out. Just the type for a thoughtful coach like Greenwood, who, even as he was winning a championship medal with Chelsea and one cap for England at centre-half, sensed that his greatest achievements might come as a coach." After the England youth team, Greenwood was promoted to take charge of the national under-23s, and he was soon bringing Moore along with him. Greenwood had kept track of Moore as he tried to establish himself at West Ham, captaining the apprentices to the FA Youth Cup final in 1959. 9 of that teenage team would go on to play for the first 11, justifying all Fenton's busy recruitment as well as the input of Allison and Cantwell on the training ground. Moore had started a longer spell in the West Ham first team when John Smith, the left half, was sold to Spurs in the spring of 1960. Greenwood lobbied for him to be elevated to the England under-23s. Moore discovered his international promotion in September 1960 when he was flicking through the evening paper on the Underground after a night in central London. Some days later, a letter arrived from the FA. "Dear Moore," which included travel arrangements. Third-class rail would be provided. There was a list of do's and don'ts, including the necessity of polished shoes and laces washed, bearing no unseemly marks of mud. Not a problem for Doss's son. Moore represented the England under-23s for the first time alongside Gordon Banks and Bobby Charlton. His and Greenwood's careers were about to become entwined even more closely when West Ham looked for a new manager in April 1961. The team's progress had slowed, and the directors decided to oust only the third manager they had employed in 60 years. Fenton departed. When the news emerged that Greenwood was his replacement, lured from his full-time job as assistant at Arsenal, the West Ham players rushed to ask Moore what the new boss was like. "A proper coach," he said. "If you want to learn, there's no better teacher," he told them. Moore had particular reason to be thrilled. After Fenton's sacking, he had been dropped by West Ham. Phil Woosnam, the captain, had taken over as caretaker and replaced Moore with Geoff Hurst as the new left half. The first knock on the door when Greenwood installed him